Now, in the last few minutes, Israel's defense minister says it's destroyed bridges used to smuggle weapons by Hezbollah operatives to move south. Joining us to discuss this from Beirut is Najat Saliba, who's an independent member of the Lebanese parliament and a professor in chemistry at the American University of Beirut. So Israel continuing its operations in Lebanon. The Israeli defense minister says destroying these bridges used to smuggle weapons by Hezbollah is a clear message to the Lebanese government that Israel will not allow Hezbollah to use Lebanese state infrastructure. What is your reaction to such a statement, and what do you think are Israel's real objectives today in Lebanon?
Well, definitely the situation is very, very dire. And the bombing of bridges and disconnecting people from their villages is also something that would add to the destruction of the country and destruction of the village. We call on Hezbollah to really turn its arms to the Lebanese armed forces so that we have a strong state that will be able to launch diplomatic conversations with countries that are friends with Lebanon or have any leverage over Israel in order for us to get to a ceasefire. This is extremely important. I think the pain is very high and we need to stop it as soon as possible.
Ms. Saliba, you're calling on Hezbollah to hand over its weapons. The Lebanese government, the Lebanese army chief, in fact, has been reluctant to disarm Hezbollah out of fear that this could lead to sectarian tensions, reignite sectarian tensions in Lebanon. What do you respond to those fears?
Well, in fact, the leaders of Hezbollah has not been shy on saying this to the Lebanese people. They have threatened the Lebanese people in case the Lebanese armed forces will execute what the Prime Minister and the cabinet of ministers have agreed on, is to lift any support of security or any military action done by Hezbollah. So this is very important. We stand by the state, we stand by the ministry, by the minister, the prime minister and the cabinet to support the strengthening of the state and not the strengthening of a militia that has no support by the government. Definitely they are threatening the Lebanese armed forces and the civilians on the ground, but we don't have any choice. We want to build a state. We want our state to be strong, and we want our state to be the one calling for peace and war, and not a militia on the ground, leading to more destructions than it has
Ms. Saliba,
since 2023.
Let me pick that up, please, if I can. You say Hezbollah has no support from the Lebanese government, but Hezbollah still has support from a section of Lebanese society. Again, aren't you worried that by making such calls that this is driving divisions within Lebanese society, within the different sects of Lebanese society, and that this could reignite the sectarian tensions that Lebanon has witnessed previously and lead to an internal struggle within the country?
This is a threat that has no stand. Most of the Lebanese people are calling for the government to become the leader and the strongest entity that is calling for peace and war. This is a threat that is also used by the Hezbollah to just call on disruption inside the society. We don't believe that Lebanese people will fight again against each other. In the contrary, most of us, most of the parliament, 90% of the parliament, and most of the Lebanese people have enough of war, and they want a state, and they want a strong state, and they want one armed forces that will call for the war and the peace, and will also secure a peaceful environment for everyone.
What do you say, Ms. Saliba, to those who say that Hezbollah has in fact a history of protecting Lebanon against Israel, and that the Lebanese army, the Lebanese government today is not in a position to defend the country and defend the Lebanese people against Israel?
Well, this was a myth that Hezbollah wanted us to believe, absolutely everything that we see on the ground, negate all of the claims that Hezbollah has been making. What we see now, we see major destruction. Hezbollah was not able to fight Israel in order to protect the south or to protect any place in Beirut or other places as well. So we see that this myth or a lie that Hezbollah is using to keep its weaponry and to fight for Iran and not for Lebanon has not really served its purpose on the ground.
You've called for direct talks with Israel. Based on what? And especially why, at a time when Israel is encroaching further into Lebanese territory, as we're seeing in the south right now? Why do you think it's important to be talking to the Israelis?
It is extremely important to use any diplomatic effort in order for us to reach a ceasefire first, and then all the other conditions and negotiations
even as
can go
Lebanese
further
territory is
afterwards.
continuously violated by Israel?
Well, the president and the prime minister have agreed to call for negotiations in order to avoid more destructions and more killing on the ground. And we support those decisions, and we support this initiative because right now the Lebanese armed forces is not able to fight the Israeli army, and that's why I think the diplomatic efforts have to prevail over any other decision. We don't have many choices at this moment. I think it was very, very wise from the part of the president and the prime minister to make those decisions and to try to move forward in finding a peaceful agreement that will save the country more destructions and more death among our parents, our friends, and the young people who are living in this country, and the children and all the population. We don't need more displaced people on the ground. We don't need more people and families to be killed.
Yeah.
What we need is to live in peace, and that's what the president and the prime minister are trying to do.
Let me ask you about the humanitarian situation now in Lebanon, if I can, because the strikes across Lebanon and Beirut are no longer just in Hezbollah areas. How is that affecting people, the Lebanese people on the ground? 800,000 displaced in just a few weeks. How are people coping, and how is the government assisting the Lebanese people today?
Well, it goes without saying that the first flux of displaced people was very overwhelming for the government, but we stand also and we salute all the efforts that the government has been making in order for him to find shelters for the displaced people. Most of the people now who have fled their homes have found a shelter, be it either in a sports arena or public schools, and they have mobilized all the non-governmental organizations to help in providing food, providing mattresses, and otherwise. We definitely are in a very, very difficult situation. But again, I think the coordination among the different ministries and the efforts that the Ministry of Social Affairs have done are commendable, because they were able to contain the situation and provide dignity to the people who have left their homes.
Ms. Saliba, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us about the situation in Lebanon. Najat Saliba is an independent member of the Lebanese parliament, joining us there from Beirut.
Thank you.